husband. Not yet.
Well, I can't wait to have a husband.
The whole husband thing. It gets so bad in the book.
Angry psycho.
For some of these girls. Becca, Shunammite, really, really, really bad.
You welcome us, won't you?
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Nice to meet you.
Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown and I am here with the first episode of The Testaments, the spinoff of The Handmaid's Tale. I am so excited. This is episode 1 called The Precious Flowers. And if it's anything like the books, we're talking about the young girls that the aunts are bringing up. And in this case, this particular aunt is Aunt Lydia. If you have watched The Handmaid's Tale or have read The Handmaid's Tale or The Testaments, then you might have some clue of who Aunt Lydia is. Not necessarily the nicest person, not necessarily the best person, in many ways one of the worst people, at least in some points, especially in The Handmaid's Tale. But she, at this point in the Testaments, has made a bit of an about-face, a turnaround. She might still seem really awful, but underneath, she doesn't have the same beliefs anymore. She is not a true believer in Gilead anymore. We might not see that right away. I'm sorry if I am spoiling this for you, but I have read both books and watched the Handmaid's Tale series all the way through, and I have been very excited for this. I've never been one to completely keep out spoilers, but I do usually try to limit really big spoilers, especially if we're not at a point that we've gotten past that in the material that's already out. So, Aunt Lydia, not the nicest person, especially in Handmaid's Tale, but she has come to see the light, and she is no longer a true believer in Gilead. I would give you a brief rundown of what the Handmaid's Tale was and what Testaments is supposed to be, but I'm not very good at that. I tried to do that during the intro that I did with the trailer and the articles and stuff like that, and when I said I would do a brief description, it was not brief at all. I just have, I think, a hard time making brief statements. Even in college, I had to plan everything out and write it down and narrow it down enough to where I could get it to be brief. Otherwise, I tend to talk too much, especially when it's something that I'm so vested in, that I'm so passionate about. And I am very, very vested in this whole, I don't want to say I'm vested in the Gilead universe. I am vested in the story. The Gilead universe is awful. And unfortunately, the beginnings of the Gilead universe, the beginnings of the takedown of the country, are very, very reflected in our current society, and I hate it. It's awful. It's a terrible thing. But it's something that I see way too much of and way too often. The more and more time goes by, the more and more I see these reflections of early Gilead coming out in our current society. It's kind of terrifying because this is never what I thought our country would become. Anyway, I'm just going to say that Gilead was this attempt at trying to make something conservative and traditional, going back to the old ways and trying to make people follow a really strict, narrow set of rules and regulations based primarily on a specific denomination of Christianity, but that many Christians would not recognize as Christianity because it definitely strays far off from Christianity in many ways. But there are a variety of denominations in Christianity that do the same thing even currently in today's society. Anyway, they want to make a better society, they want to make a better country, and they want to bring things back to their roots, and they want to make the people more pure, and they want to make them follow a more narrow idea of how the world should be. And these are people in the United States. They decide to take over the United States government. They destroy the government. They pretty much kill everybody in the fucking government. They're gone. They're destroyed. anyway, they've gotten rid of them and they have blamed it on terrorists. A convenient excuse, but not the real excuse. I mean, I would say they're domestic terrorists, but that's not who they were blaming it on. I think they were blaming it on Iran or Iraq or something like that. So sounds similar to some of the stuff going on right now, like I said. But anyway, they destroy the government. They say it's terrorists. They put everybody on curfew. They start taking certain rights away, but they tell the people that they're going to reinstate all the laws in the Constitution after they get things under control. But they have no intention on doing that. The Constitution is never reinstated. These laws are never reapplied. Instead, they bring new laws. They take away women's bank accounts. They take away women's rights to be in a job. And they do it all at one time. All the female bank accounts and all the female jobs are taken away on the same day with one piece of legislation. The women are all laid off without any real explanation, while their employers are being held at gunpoint, told that they have to get these women out of there within a certain amount of time, with again very little explanation at all. And then the employees go home. Some of the employees have already found out that there's something wrong with the banking system, but they don't know what it is. They just know they can't access their funds. And they get home and they're trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Answers are not forthcoming. But in the case of Handmaid's Tale, the handmaid in particular that the story was about is told by her best friend that legislation came down. They took away all the women's bank accounts. They took away all their jobs. And she said they had to do it like this. They had to make it so that they could just push a couple buttons and block all the females out. And what happens with their funds? Their funds go to the male next of kin. So all their money goes to whoever in their family is the male next of kin. They don't have a male next of kin? I don't know. I don't know where their money's going. But Moira is one of the people. Moira is June's best friend. June is the handmaid in the story The Handmaid's Tale. And her best friend does not have any male next of kin, and she tells her, well, I have gay male friends who are perfectly willing to take care of my money, and I can get money from them. All good. Whereas June has to go to her husband. I know, see, I'm going on and on. I cannot do this brief thing, especially with this is like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. But anyway, eventually things get so bad that, gosh, like I really shouldn't go on about all this. I'm just going to say that eventually June, her husband, her young daughter, who's about 4 or 5 years old, they all try to escape Gilead and they try to go to Canada where they can seek refuge, but they don't make it there. Instead, June is caught. Her child is taken away from her. June is put in a place where she becomes a handmaid, and a handmaid is not somebody who cleans up the house or something like that. No, no, no. It is nothing like that. In this universe, the handmaids are women that are assigned to the commanders and the higher echelons of society. They are forced to have sex with them once a month in order to hopefully become pregnant with their children and give birth. These are all commanders with wives. The wives participate in the monthly rapings, but they don't call them rapings. They call it the ceremony. This stuff is truly disturbing, but still, like, I still recommend you watch the series. I recommend that you read the books. It is dystopian for a reason. It is dystopian. So yes, it's going to keep you up at night. Yes, it's going to be hard to watch. It's going to be distressful. I recommend that if you watch the series, you do it one episode at a time, and then you give yourself a break before you watch the next episode. Go watch a couple reactions. Go watch a couple blogs or vlogs. Listen to other people's reactions. Get some of the stuff that you have in your heart and on your mind out into the world. If you want to chat with people, do it. Chat with them. Because I'm telling you, I needed respite from these episodes when I watched them. I really did. I needed to digest them. I needed to get away from them for a little while before I went back to the next. There are some positive big wins in this series, but almost every time there is an episode with a big win, there are also losses. And almost every episode episode has some seriously distressful stuff in it. Almost every episode has some sort of loss. Not necessarily death, but just like, oh my God, tear your soul apart. That doesn't mean it's not worth watching. Please watch it. I'm telling you, watch it. But anyway, she eventually gets pregnant, not with the commander's child, though. He seems to be shooting blanks, so she has to go to somebody else. She does have a baby. The Testaments is about the breakdown of Gilead, the takedown, and it in very serious ways involves both of June's daughters. The daughter that was kidnapped and raised in Gilead most of her life. She goes by Agnes now, but her name was Hannah before she was kidnapped. And the daughter that was the result of where they had to go to somebody else in order to get her pregnant, but she actually fell in love with that guy. So one that escapes to Canada and she lives most of her young life in Canada. The other one that stays in Gilead and is raised most of her life in Gilead. Those two, and believe it or not, Aunt Lydia are like the precipice of taking down Gilead. So yes, major spoilers. I understand. If you don't want spoilers, I am not the person for you to be coming to, but I'm going to try not to give too many more huge spoilers, especially spoilers that come after the point that we're in this show. Anyway, it's enough of my talking for now. Let's go ahead and get started with this series.
This is Radio Free Boston with an update.
For everyone still inside, keep your head down and stay safe.
That voice right there is June's voice from the TV series.
99.2. This is Radio Free America, forever the sound of freedom.
Oh, she's on Radio Free America.
Possibility.
I'm already getting teary-eyed. Oh my goodness. And I have been drinking wine. It's been a very hectic last few days. Getting ready to get our house painted and floors done, and I've been trying to pack stuff up and repair the walls, and it's a lot. The dollhouse.
You want to know what it was like for me? Growing up in Gilead. Shame to say that I believed in Gilead once. I'm not really sure what year it was. Girls were forbidden to have calendars. Just reading one could cost you a finger.
This is exactly as it was in the book. The wording, the dollhouse, all of it is so similar.
You learn to mark time in other ways. I still had my dollhouse. It looked just like our real house. It had my bedroom, a wife's parlor, even an attic where the Marthas slept. I was a plum. I didn't have my period yet. It was all we wanted, and it also terrified us. The commander doll was always doing very important work. Just like my father. Keeping us safe from heretics and Mayday terrorists.
Mayday terrorists.
The Martha dolls were always busy.
Biological mother June is a Mayday terrorist.
But at night they would let the little girl doll sit in the kitchen. They would make her cinnamon toast and they would all talk.
Oh, worse.
There is a wife doll. That would be Paula, who was my new stepmother then.
Okay, so she's already lost her
Rosa, how's your leg? Please tell me it's better.
Yes, ma'am.
original Gilead mother.
Thank you, Zilla. Zilla was new. Her tongue was removed as punishment before she was posted with us. Probably for blasphemy. It was a big one for some wives.
That was not in the book.
That last one we had was a chatty Cathy.
Sometimes I would lock the Paula doll in the attic, which was not nice. Paula doll would pound on the door and scream. Girl doll would pay no attention, and sometimes she would laugh.
Yeah, they're making little changes. So in the book, the Marthas were who she put in the attic. But in the book, she was not with Paula yet. Paula was not her Gilead mother.
Well, don't you look pretty as a picture?
Thank you, Mother.
I was worried it'd make you look gawky, but no.
Praise be his mercy.
This does make a lot more sense, though. I mean, I get kind of locking the Marthas in an attic to an extent, but this makes so much more sense because Paula was awful in the book, too.
She wants me married and gone. I was born in a sinful before world.
Don't slouch, dear. Slouching girls get fat husbands.
Slouching girls get fat husbands.
Under his eyes, sweetie pie. Bye, Rosa.
I was kind of hoping they'd start before Paula came when Tabitha was still alive, but Tabitha was her first Gilead mother, according to the books. I don't remember if that's the name in Handmaid's Tale.
Once when we were pinks, I smiled at a boy on the playground. The aunts taped my mouth and made me stand in the dining hall for 2 days, holding the sign for a slut. That was for smiling. I wonder what would happen if I kissed one.
Oh, God.
When we became plums, we started going on field trips.
My aunt and uncle, we lived with them for a little while when my brother was a teenager, and he peed the bed, and they fucking made him walk around the neighborhood with a sign around his neck saying that he was a bed pisser or something like that. And my dad was in the army, and he was in the Iraq War, I think, at the time, so he was gone.
They were fun. Some parts more than others.
She looks so happy.
Come along, girls. Come on, girls. Quickly. Gross.
Hulda, enough.
Fucking teenagers, and they're already showing these girls this shit.
God's justice is beautiful.
I'm sorry, Aunt Vidala.
No, that is not beautiful, and that is not God's justice.
Do you know what crime they committed?
Rape. Vidala, that's what the red X is for. It's for rape.
Praise be.
Smile about it. Isn't that great? It's most likely not true, but...
Horrible men, these
You say rapists?
rapists, yes. These men stole a young girl, much like yourselves, spirited girl. That kind of girl often earns a violent end for herself. The urges of men are terrible things, and those urges must be curbed.
Just by existing, we were mortally dangerous to otherwise perfectly good men. They were helpless to resist us.
And that's the kind of stories they're telling these girls.
I was a precious flower.
On Handmaid's Tale, a lot of these things were said
Then
to
why
have
did I
been
sometimes feel like a prized pig?
stories that they made up about people that were actually from Mayday or the Underground or something like that, that were rebelling against Gilead. But they would make up some awful story about them and say that they were rapers or something to that effect.
At the Aunt Lydia school, pink dresses were for little girls. Plum dresses were for older girls like us, predestined to marry high Gilead commanders once we became eligible.
And I believe the narration going on, it's similar to in the book. In the book, they have basically testimony from Aunt Lydia, from Agnes, and from Daisy. Now, Daisy in the book is June's youngest daughter. Some people are saying that that's not who she's going to be on this, but I don't know yet.
If God blessed us with a period, then we became greens and got pins. Becca was the first person I met when we moved here from Colorado. She was my best friend, except we weren't allowed to have best friends. Best friends led to keeping secrets, and disobedient girls became women who were immoral, obviously.
You have your dress fitting?
She was getting ready to be matched, moving on without me. But we didn't talk about that.
My mother thinks if she gets the bodice just right, everyone will forget my dad's a dentist.
I hope they keep to the story. I'm not going to say what the story is, but I hope they keep to the story because Becca is a big part of that story and her father, the dentist.
Very, very cute hair. Thanks, new Martha. I look like I have a bad head.
Shunammite, flap your tongue around and you're likely to lose it. Have a graceful day, girls.
So she's Aunt Vidala. Which when I was doing the book reading, I kept saying Aunt Vidalia, but apparently it's Vidala.
Aunt Lydia was a legend, worshipped, then vilified,
Thank you, Aunt Lydia.
then worshipped again. 4 years since the War of Massachusetts, the purges had happened. Those remaining were able to shape history as they liked.
The War of Massachusetts.
Some people were hung, and some had schools named after them.
So I'm assuming they're talking about what happened at the end of The Handmaid's Tale. The War of Massachusetts.
We lived in malice and envy, being hated and hating one another. But when the kindness and love of God our Savior appeared, He saved us.
White was for the Pearl Girls. They were new arrivals from outside of Gilead, gathered from all over the world. Of course they had to be young, and possibly fertile.
Weirdos.
Aunt said the Pearl Girls came eager for a new start. Even more eager to prove their godliness by telling on you. We all knew someone who had been ratted out by a Pearl Girl, the passion of the converted. What a pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass. Oh my gosh.
Nice work, Constance.
The domestic arts. Oh, how wonderful. Not. I mean, if you like that kind of thing, suit yourself, but no thank you.
Pretty daisies, Hilda.
Thank you, Aunt Esther.
Should you be thanking me?
No, thank him for making me able. Pray forgive me.
You are forgiven.
They look similar.
Just be mindful around Aunt Vidala. Aunt Gabbana, blessed morning.
Dalla, Aunt Este, Aunt Gabbana.
Agnes, Aunt Lydia would like to speak with you.
And they don't usually see Aunt Lydia because she's like kind of in charge of the programs there, I think. She doesn't usually involve herself in the classes, but she is kind of like one of the major people in charge of the groups of women. In The Handmaid's Tale, she was in charge of the handmaids, basically. And in this, she's in charge of these young girls.
By tradition, only dead people are allowed to have statues. I have been given one while still alive. I have been prematurely petrified.
Prematurely petrified, which is, she says in the book too, but she's talking to herself in the book, writing down her own testimony, sort of.
I have been watching you for quite a while now.
Why, Aunt Lydia?
We inspire the world with our good works, Agnes.
Yes, Aunt Lydia.
Excellent. I have good work that needs doing, helping a new friend feel welcome.
Okay, and this is probably going to be Daisy, which is one of the Pearl Girls. In the book, she is definitely June's daughter, but in this, still don't know.
Agnes, this is Daisy, one of my precious, precious pearls, recently arrived. Daisy may be joining your class.
She's going to be a plum?
Perhaps. Be her shepherdess. It's an honor for you, Agnes. Daisy, be a good girl and stay with Agnes. Lambs, don't stray.
Yes, Aunt Lydia.
Go in grace.
So I would imagine that would be difficult. They don't have the highest opinion of the Pearl Girls, and she has to chaperone her everywhere
Painting and sketching.
with her friends around and stuff.
Music classroom.
But also this Pearl Girl is on a special mission. A little outside of most of the Pearl Girls. Well, I don't know. Maybe some of the other Pearl Girls are on the same sort of mission, but she is on a particular mission that the other people in Gilead don't think of for Pearl Girls.
Fiber arts, like embroidery, lace making. You can make a tablecloth, if you dare.
Praise be His word.
Weirdo. Aunt Lydia didn't tell me much about you. Did she tell you anything about me?
Nothing, Miss Agnes.
Did she ask you to watch me?
Of course. To learn how to behave properly.
Discipline and corrections are in the aunt swing. You only go there when you earn it. And lunch.
Blessed be His bounty.
This is the dining room. Let's eat.
It is an offense to God to waste food with poor preparation. If your meal is unacceptable, speak firmly to your Martha.
Yes, Aunt Vidala.
Let us give thanks.
God is great, God is good. Thank you, God, for our food. Give us, Lord, our daily bread.
Amen.
Girls, you may socialize.
You may socialize.
What is all this then?
I do kind of like that they get to go to the tables with the settings already done, the plates already out there. They don't have to stand in a line waiting for their food and then bring it out. That whole thing in school takes up a lot of time.
This is Daisy. Aunt Lydia asked me to make her feel welcome.
Hey, it's a blessing to meet you all. Ditto. We're enjoying very fine weather. It's a high-pressure system, I think.
Daisy, where do you hail from?
Toronto, Canada. Shunammite. That's a beautiful name.
It is.
It is.
I imagine Canada's very different from Gilead.
Toronto has been forsaken by God and defiled by Satan.
So do you miss it?
I pray it will be swallowed whole by the earth.
May he hear your prayer.
I imagine she is completely playing that off because, yeah, not true at all.
Daisy, do you like soft serve ice cream?
Food is one of his miracles.
They have it strawberry and vanilla. Hold, I will take you.
Yeah, I can make you a swirl cone.
Aunt Lydia urged me to stay with Miss Agnes.
You wouldn't want to insult God. You should get some.
The teenagers doing the teenager things with the new girl that's different than everybody else.
What did you do wrong?
She didn't do anything.
She's new here. I'm just supposed to be a shepherdess.
She'll tell Aunt Lydia everything. She's a pearl girl. Becca, your Martha is here to collect you.
My fitting. Pray for me. It's starting to move very, very fast. It's a dress, not a husband. Not yet.
Well, I can't wait to have a husband.
Becca, pray, come along.
The whole husband thing. It gets so bad in the book
Angry psycho.
for some of these girls. Becca, Shunammite, really, really, really bad. Like, Shunammite thinks that this is going to be the greatest thing, being a wife, and...
You should tell on her.
For what?
Just say that she gossips or has a foul tongue.
it becomes very bad.
She ran off to go get ice cream. That could be plausible.
You don't make up shit for no reason at all. You just met her. You don't know squat about her.
It's time to plumb up and get her before she gets you.
Cinnamon toast. Is it awful?
God never sends us more than we can bear. Sometimes he does get close, though.
Becca had her final fitting.
She must be happy to be getting a new dress.
She could get an offer from a commander, one who lives in Wyoming, not Maryland.
She won't move far if she marries a high commander. They need to live near the capital.
She could marry one who doesn't let his wife have any friends.
Try not to think about it.
So how would they keep all the commanders near the
How did you meet your husband before? I mean,
capital? Like, I would think they would have to have some commanders in each of the states that they have power over.
Oh, we met in a bookstore. Almost everyone we knew then was meeting online on Tinder. We met in the cookbook section.
what's Tinder?
It's not something you're ever going to need to know, Pumpkin. Blessed evening, ma'am.
The commander will be home Thursday. I have some things for the Marthas to do. You said your leg was better.
It is, ma'am.
Good. Head up to the 3rd floor. We'll start there.
Yes, ma'am.
That was something that I'm pretty sure they talked about in the Testaments book.
I grew up riding. When a horse would come up lame, my father would shoot it.
That the Marthas would intentionally say they weren't sick because
It was hard.
they could get freaking in trouble from the wives, and the wives could send them off to, like, the fucking colonies or something like that.
But it was the merciful thing to do.
Or who knows where. Because they don't know where the old Marthas go after they get old, or after they get hurt or sick.
Sometimes you have to be hard, cut off weak branches and bothersome ones. You'll understand when you're running your own household.
Yep, it's definitely that vibe like in Handmaid's Tale where you would think like, oh, the wives are in this high up position and so they have like the best life or whatever. But it's like no matter what position you're in Gilead, especially the females, it's always a high stress, high tension position. The wives, the young girls, the handmaids, the Marthas, all of them are in bad positions that are high stress and high tension.
Posture, Agnes.
And even the aunts.
I'm sorry, Apadala.
In the dining hall.
Hurry along.
Hinks, to your classes.
Blessed day, Miss Agnes.
Blessed day. How was it?
It was fine. Feel like Buffy's leaves.
Blessed day, graceful friends. We have some difficult work to do today. Are you ready? Yes, yes,
Oh, someone's in trouble.
He's the gross one. Hidden amongst us, he was found touching himself on school grounds.
No. I think that's supposed to be the guy that helped Daisy get over there.
Gilead trusted him to protect you, God's most precious girls.
What are they gonna do to him?
Quiet! You are not blameless, girls. Shame upon any of you that tempt a man. Should this man go unpunished? Or should he pay? I am so proud of the women you are becoming.
Ray, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Daisy,
Fuck. What the fuck was that?
you broke the rules.
They cut it off. I saw his arm. Jesus Christ, he was fucking wide awake. Jesus, what the fuck? I'm sorry.
Don't tell.
Oh, sweetie. Agnes, help Daisy get cleaned up. How do you feel?
They told us about assemblies, but I didn't think it'd be like that.
Like what?
Thank you for taking care of me.
When Aunt Lydia gives you an assignment, you do it.
I committed blasphemy.
You were unwell.
I took his name in vain. I know I must confess.
Okay. Aunt Lydia is in charge of punishing Pearl girls.
Praise be her discipline. I need to learn. Do you think she'll cut out my tongue?
Not for this. Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, if it's God's will. If it's God's will. If it's God's will. If it's God's will.
It's okay. You don't have to. It was just us.
Oh my God.
God sees our sins.
Yeah.
We'll pray together.
And God's not in charge of this.
God is merciful. The aunts, not so much sometimes.
Seriously?
Are you sure?
Our secret. Shunammite said Daisy was dangerous. She was right, of course. She said you should never ever trust a pearl girl. But that was exactly what I did.
Blessed night, my pearls. May God protect you.
It is a little worrisome having Aunt Lydia in charge of all these girls, knowing her background and how she was, even though she supposedly turned a new leaf or whatever. Oh my God. She's called the Walkman.
This is Radio Free Boston. For our May Day heroes, tonight's messages are on channel 99.2.
You should probably cover that up so you can't see the bright light from it.
Remember, folks, don't let the bastards cry.
Red Dog, Greenhouse, White Barn, you have packages waiting. If you're in the Paperclip Club, sit tight. That's it for tonight.
There you go. Ah, yes, backstory. It's changing every day in every possible way. It's never quite as it seems. I'm feeling it even more. Is that June? Ah! That's all the confirmation I need that Daisy is actually June's. I know that's not much, but I'm gonna go with it. No!
But I remember the nights were getting shorter. The shorebirds were back. You could hear them. I didn't know who my mom was yet. My real mom. That would come soon. I had no idea how much that would change things. You learn to mark time in other ways. It was when I became eligible. And when I met Daisy, it was when it all started.
So understanding and so kind. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's just like, oh, it's bringing all the fucking feelings. Mm. Oh my God. Okay. I know Sharonda from Hair Weight warned us that this was going to be like, it's going to give you those feelings like you had in Handmaids. So freaking depressing. And it's like tears away at your soul. You gotta fucking come back and watch the next episode every fucking time because you want more. But, holy shit. I don't think I expected the first episode to be like that freaking gut-wrenching. She's coming in with all the correct statements. She's using all the correct language and everything. And from what I remember in the books, she has a lot harder time with that. Like, she is not good at using the biblical language and all of that and using these rote statements that they're supposed to repeat every time they see people and stuff like that. She has a hard time following along with the Gilead rules, which I think is why they're saying that Aunt Lydia is having Agnes watch over her, shepherdess her, because she has a hard time with these rules. So she said to help with her behavior. Her behavior is not great because she really is not a Gilead person. She is there for other reasons. I know, more spoilers. That was rough. A lot like a lot of the Handmaid's Tale episodes were rough. I am hoping, though, that this is June's youngest daughter, baby Nicole. In the TV series, they called her baby Nicole. And then I think by the end of the series, they were calling her baby Holly because June named her Holly when she was born after her mother. Her mother's name is Holly. Serena named her baby Nicole in part to honor the guy that actually fathered baby Nicole, which was Nick. I think eventually June kind of let that stand, partially because she was in love with Nick. So I think she was okay with her baby being named Nicole after Nick. But I also think partially at the time in the TV series, Serena actually had a fucking moment of humanity and let that baby go so that she could be taken out of Gilead and brought to Canada so she could escape. I think it was after that point that June told the next person that her name was Nicole, even though she had named her Holly. Little bits and pieces of Testaments, the book, Testaments, the series, Handmaid's Tale, the book, Handmaid's Tale, the series. I just love it all, and it is all intertwined. Yes, you can definitely watch the show without having watched any of the series or read any of the books. But I do like that I have watched the shows and read the books, and it like fills me in. But I am going to give spoilers. It's just kind of the way it is. What I usually do is I try to keep from giving any spoilers that might come later, but because some of this stuff is being pulled from the book in different parts, I'm not going to necessarily know what parts things are going to come out. So I may give spoilers that come out later without intending to or without realizing it. Anyway, I can hardly wait for the next episode, but I will take my week and I will digest some other reactions, listen to some vlogs if I can find some, edit this episode, and then I will start the next one. That's all I got for you this week. I will see you next week. Bye.
Is there more?
We'll just have to tune in next week to find out, won't we?
And remember, if you like this content, please click the thumbs up. And if you want to see more content, click subscribe. Ring that little bell and click all, and you'll get more notifications anytime new content comes out.